So I thought I'd give a bit of a background as to why this Lucky Red Packet game came about and start to document some of my reasoning and some of my thinking behind what I'm trying to do. Um, I thought I'd create some podcasts, maybe put this video on YouTube, and just let everybody know the thinking behind it, and probably give some progress updates as it goes along if the trades kick off. So it's day one at the moment. I literally put up the experiment last night on LinkedIn and TikTok. And so far, there's been no trades. There's been no offers. I think everybody is that they've everybody who has seen it is probably thinking, "What is this experiment? Whether or not I'm serious about it." And yeah, it hasn't really kicked off yet, which is fine. It's expected after one day. So how did this game come about? I remember doing, as part of my MBA, a negotiation course or unit, and inside that negotiation unit, we had to do this experiment where we had to trade things with each other to see what the final outcome was. That game kind of kicked off because there was a blogger in Canada, I think it was in 2007, who played a game called the Red Paperclip. Now, it's a very, very similar experiment, and in fact, I've tried to copy a lot of how that experiment run, and it's pretty simple. The concept's pretty simple. So all it was Kyle, but in Canada, he took this red paperclip that he found lying around, and he started making trades, and he wanted to see how far the trades went. And after, I think it was about 14 trades, he ended up swapping in his final trade. He ended up swapping a role in a movie for a house. I can't recall where the house was, but he ended up eventually getting a house out of the trades. Now, something that I wanted to bring to to social media is, I have a theory that within all those trades there would have been a lot of negotiations going on. Trades can be very simple. It could be an offer and an acceptance of a bid. But it can also involve a lot of behind the scenes negotiations, a lot of direct negotiations, and I really wanted to test my negotiation skills whilst showcasing how negotiations works in the background. Negotiations can be twofold. It can be one extreme to the other. The first one, where a lot of people associate with what we call the zero sum game, where if somebody wins, then somebody has to lose. Now, that's where a lot of negotiations get the bad name. Say, for example, you go to a car dealership and you negotiate with a used car salesman, and if he gets what he wants, which is a sale, then there might be a chance that you've lost in some other aspect. Maybe the car's a dud or a lemon. Maybe you've paid too much. And so negotiations has traditionally had a bit of a bad name. Now, after taking many negotiation courses, having finished my MBA, having worked in procurement negotiations where I'm buying things from suppliers for big companies and locking in contracts, I've come to realize over the past 10 years that negotiations is not like that at all. In fact, if it's the zero sum game negotiation where one party wins, one party loses, that's often a very basic type of negotiation, and there's so much more to negotiations than simply walking into somewhere saying, bang your hand on the table, going, "I want a lower price, I want a cheaper price," and there's way more to it than that. And I'm hoping that through this experiment, I'm able to bring some of those strategies and some of the collaborative styles of negotiations and showcase how softer negotiation skills can actually be delivered to create an outcome. So I don't know whether or not this experiment will go anywhere. I don't know how far it will go, but at the moment it's only been about 12 hours since the game started or the experiment started, and I haven't received anything. I've posted it on TikTok. I've created a handle called Lucky Red Packet. and I've posted it up on my personal LinkedIn page. So reaching out to all my networks to see whether or not this game can get somewhere. And I think over the next couple of days, I'll start to speak to people individually, people within my immediate network, because I think once the first trade happens, then I can create a bit of a story around that. I can post up how that trade happened, and hopefully it'll get a bit more buy-in from the community to to see that this is a real trade, and I'm not here to rip anyone off. I'm here to see whether or not a genuine win-win trade can happen. So at the moment, what's on offer is a $10 Australian note. It's legit because it's got a barcode. No, sorry, it's got a serial number. It's a proper Australian $10 note, and it's a $10 note out of a lucky red packet. The reason it's called the Lucky Red Packet Challenge or experiment is because I was cleaning my room the other day and I noticed that I hadn't opened a Lucky Red Packet. I think it was from my mum, and something that she gave me for Chinese New Year. And the Lucky Red Packet is supposed to resemble luck for the year. And so there was $10 in there, and I'm happy to give away or swap or trade that for something else. Now, what I'm asking for from everybody that I've tried to reach out to through TikTok and LinkedIn is if there's something lying around, whether it's in their office or in their home or in their car, and they don't really want it, they were going to throw it out anyway. It might be worth something to someone. And I'm happy to receive offers and see if I can trade that for the $10 in the red packet. So not only are you getting the $10, you're going to be getting a symbol of luck as well in the red packet. I'll give that as well. And I'll also create a story around it, or I'll start to document it. So you're going to get a bit of exposure as well on either TikTok or LinkedIn or both, and probably YouTube. And if all goes well, then hopefully in the next, I don't know, I'll give it a week. There'll be my first trade, and then I'll see how far it goes. I know in the red paperclip challenge it was 14 trades. Depending on how this one goes, this might be a bit longer, it might be a bit less, but that one ran for about 6 months. So I'm gonna keep this rolling for as long as I can and see how far this $10 really goes. What am I expecting out of this? I'm expecting that there'll be a lot of negotiations that I wouldn't have expected. I'm hoping people start to. So I'm thinking that in the first few rounds, a lot of the trades will actually begin with people I know. So I think reaching out to social media, it's going to be really hard to get strangers who have never met me before to accept and trust that this is real, and that a trade will happen. So I think the first few rounds, I'm gonna have to reach out to my networks and to see people who, whether anybody who actually knows me can make the trades happen, because behind it is a bit of trust. They know who I am, they know that I'm real, and then yeah, see where that goes. I think in the other game, the trades actually happen in person. So Kyle, the person who ran it in 2007, I think he flew around to all the different cities to make the trades happen. I'm going to consider that as well. So if there is a trade, I'm situated in Melbourne. If there's a trade in Sydney, then I might fly out to Sydney for a day and to make a swap. And document that. If it's overseas, then I'll consider it. I know there's a virus going on at the moment, so flying into Asia might not be the best thing to do, but I'm willing to consider it. If not, then it will be via postal services or shipping or however I can get those trades to happen. The reason that I think that this is going to be a success is because the last time this was ran that became quite big was in 2007. That's about 13 years ago. So a lot has changed since then. I know there's more active users on the internet. There's more social media going on. TikTok wasn't around. LinkedIn wasn't big. And I'm really hoping to use these different types of social platforms to see whether or not more interest can be garnered, and whether or not this will go viral in a different sense, because last time it was just YouTube. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. I don't know. I don't really know what to expect. I know that the first few trades are likely to be tiny, but what I'm also thinking is that because of all these different platforms going out there, if it does go viral, then there may be more interest generated from either corporates or businesses or business people who want exposure as well. And this is actually a pretty good way to do it. So at the moment, my networks aren't that big. I think I've got about 1,000 people on LinkedIn, and TikTok. I've created a fresh account dedicated for this experiment. So at the moment, I've got pretty much no one on TikTok. But I'm hoping that if it does go viral and this does get big, then what will end up happening is people will jump on board and see the power of TikTok and the power of LinkedIn, and they'll be able to throw a bit of support behind this experiment. Like I said, I'm open to all offers, so it's not just from people I know. The offers can come from anywhere. And I'm hoping that eventually, because I do have the experience in my job negotiating or dealing and trading with other major companies. I'm hoping companies will see this, and they will see that the benefit isn't actually in the thing that I've traded with them, but it's more about the exposure that they'll get from social media. So, yes, there is the value of right now of the $10, and that's the $10 in the Lucky Red packet. Um, and then there is also the benefit of being part of an experiment that may get very big very quickly, or it may get very big over a period of time, in which case you'll be part of that experiment. And you can even take that and put it up on your social media and create a bit of awareness to your brand, to who you are, to you as a person. But hopefully that this experiment will run to a point where it gets very big. So today's day one, or 12 hours since I put it up. So at the moment, no trades, no offers. If you want to find me, like I said, on TikTok, the handle there is Lucky Red Packet, all in one word. On LinkedIn, my name is Jason N. Surname is spelled NG. So that's N for November, G for Gary or golf. And yeah, just hit me up if you wanna trade. Otherwise, if you just want to follow the story, that's perfectly fine as well. Just I guess follow me or find me on LinkedIn or TikTok, and I'll be trying to post as regularly as possible just to keep everyone up to date on the progress. If there are any trades, or even if I'm trying to garner trades from people or trying to generate trades from people, if I can, I'll try to record that and I'll put it up a bit later. And I think I'm going to try and create a podcast. And hopefully with the podcast, it'll give the opportunity for people to hear about how the trades have occurred, what the thinking is behind it, some of the strategies I've used, and yeah, we'll hopefully go from there. So in terms of strategies for this very first trade, like I said, I'm going to be reaching out to my personal network because there is the trust behind it, and they, even if they don't like the $10, I don't know why they would not like the $10. It's real $10. Then they've got recourse because they know me personally. So that's really the first one. So being part of something, a social experiment online, maybe gives them exposure. So there's a few things going for them. I'm not just trading the $10 note that's worth $10. There's also a story behind the Lucky Red packet because The red packet resembles luck, and some people like luck, you know. And then there's behind it the social media aspect, the exposure. So at the moment, because it's just the first trade, some people might think the exposure is not really worth much. Some people might think it is. Some people might be a little bit creative about this and be willing to take it on so that they can do something with the trade. But I'm happy to take offers. And I think the story behind this experiment, and because I am putting it up on so many different platforms, it will be of interest to someone, and eventually someone will generate the trade. And hey, worst case, it doesn't happen on social media. If it happens through my personal networks, then I'll record it, create a story, and hopefully that will set me up for the next one. And eventually they'll see that I'm very serious about this, and I am a reputable person. I am trustable, so if a trade does happen, I will do everything I can to execute on that trade and make it real. And that may even involve me flying around places just to make the trade happen. So that's it from me today. I'll continue posting, and I'll continue popping up content where I can. So like I said, there's YouTube. Podcast is pending because I need to figure out how to put up with the podcast. Hey, and if you're hearing this on podcast, fantastic. That means it's worked, it's succeeded. And the two main ones actually are LinkedIn and TikTok. So once again, LinkedIn, my name is Jason Ng, spelled NG. And TikTok handle is Lucky Red Packet. So I'll leave it there. Thank you, and I'll keep you posted soon. Thanks.